We've all been there, right? In a high-stakes meeting, a boardroom, a big sales call, where the conversation is supposed to be the engine driving things forward, but instead, it just grinds to a halt. It becomes a source of friction, not momentum. Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack a system that's designed to completely transform those frustrating stalls into decisive action. It's about changing the very operating system of our conversations.
This quote right here really hits the nail on the head. The central idea we're digging into is that our most important discussions, they don't fall apart because people aren't smart enough or don't have good intentions. No, they fail because of a fundamental flaw in the process itself. And that's the core issue. It's a system failure, not a skill failure. You know our default mode? We jump right in to explain, to persuade, to solve the problem. But that's a huge mistake in the sequence of things. It immediately puts people on the defensive, leads to that polite, head-nodding agreement, and ultimately, the decision just stalls out. We're basically trying to run a conversation on a broken operating system. So the solution we're talking about is a complete paradigm shift. It's a framework that treats strategic questioning not as some soft skill, but as a structured, repeatable operating system. The whole point here isn't just to talk. It's to consistently and reliably convert that conversation into a clear decision. And the entire system, the whole thing, is built on this one simple but incredibly powerful idea. The questions you ask don't just gather information. They're not passive. They actively shape the direction and the final outcome of the entire conversation. Think of them as the steering wheel, not just a fuel gauge. Okay, so let's pop the hood and take a look at the architecture of this thing. It's built on 3 core functions, and each one has a very specific job to do in getting a conversation from a place of ambiguity all the way to action. The foundation, the absolute bedrock of the entire system, is the first function, clarity. Everything of any value is built right on top of this. Think of clarity questions as your diagnostic tools. Their only purpose is to cut right through all the assumptions, the biases, the noise that we all inevitably bring into a room. Their job is to uncover what's really going on, to make sure any decision we make is grounded in reality, not just wishful thinking. This is all about finding the real problem before you even think about trying to solve it. So once you have that clear grip on reality, the system then turns to the human dynamics in the room. And that's the job of its second function, connection. Now, this is where things get really interesting. The system treats trust as a mechanism for speed. Connection questions are all about creating psychological safety. When you lower people's defenses, that's when the hidden perspectives, the things people really think, start to come out. You unlock the honesty you need to get past all the surface-level talk. All right, so we've established clarity, and we've built trust. Now the system's final function is designed to drive the conversation toward a result, and that function is courage. Courage questions are the catalysts. They're surgically precise. They're designed to take all that insight and all that trust you've just built and convert it into actual forward movement. Their job is to cut through any hesitation and drive a real commitment to a decision and a clear next step. I love this quote because it just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. This isn't about asking a ton of questions. It's about precision. It's about finding that one question that completely unlocks the conversation and changes the entire dynamic in the room. But here's the kicker, and this might be the most important piece of the puzzle. The real power of this operating system isn't just in the types of questions, it's in their sequence. The order is non-negotiable. It's everything. And this flow isn't arbitrary. It's actually designed to mirror how we as human beings make good decisions. First, we need to understand the truth of a situation. Then, we need to feel safe enough to actually engage with that truth honestly. And only then are we really ready to commit to action. Truth first, safety second, action last. You skip a step, and that's precisely why most of these important conversations fail. So what's the payoff? What are the actual, tangible results of using this approach? Let's look at how shifting from our default way of talking to this system prevents those common failures we all know so well. Just look at this comparison. A typical high-stakes conversation can feel like a performance, can't it? Everyone's playing their part. This system completely changes that dynamic. It moves from performance to diagnosis. It shifts the entire goal away from persuasion and towards truth discovery. It turns what is often just conversational theater into real, genuine signal detection. And when you create that kind of profound shift in the dynamics, you get a dramatic shift in the results. It's night and day. Those all too common failure modes, defensiveness, going around in circles, they get replaced with trust and clean decisions. Stalled projects and stuck deals get replaced with decisive, forward-moving action. So for any leader, any seller, any operator, the strategic advantage here is just crystal clear. You get to the truth way faster. You build higher levels of trust with a lot less resistance. You drive cleaner decisions, which means, yes, fewer meetings that go nowhere and fewer stalled deals. And the best part? You create real momentum without having to apply all that brute force pressure.
So I want to leave you with a final thought to kind of reframe this whole problem. Think about that next frustrating stalled deal or project on your plate. What if it's not actually stuck because of impossible circumstances? What if it's simply waiting for the one question that changes the entire room?